Welcome to Passport Required. I'm Kim Covert, owner and lead travel designer at Silverleaf Travel.
And I'm Gary Covert. Together, we are on a mission to help experienced travelers and would-be travelers get even more informed, inspired, and get moving so that they can enjoy great travel experiences and make memories that will last.
We believe that travel offers so many opportunities to improve the quality of our lives. Travel helps us learn more about the world, ourselves, and those closest to us. It keeps us vibrant, fresh, and connected, and travel helps us celebrate life.
We invite you to join the Silverleaf Travel Facebook page so that we can amplify our impact and help people get off of and stay off of what we'd like to call Someday Island.
We know you're going to love this episode, so let's get after it. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Passport Required. We're very excited about today's episode. I'm Kim Covert.
I'm Gary Covert.
And we have the CEO of Riverside Luxury Cruises, Jen Halboth, and our Director of Sales, Kelly Browne. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim, for having us on.
Before we jump in, I'll just give a quick introduction of you both, and then we'll dive right in. So Jen Halboth, she is the CEO of Riverside Luxury Cruises Americas, which she'll be quick to tell you that CEO can also mean Chief Engagement Officer. Her meaning is that travel is a business built by and for humans to get out and discover the world and each other. And in order to do that, you have to be engaged. I got to agree with all that. Before joining Riverside in 2022, she was with Avalon Waterways for 19 years, most recently in the Senior Director National Accounts role. When Jen isn't out creating preference and excitement for Riverside Luxury Cruises, she spends her time in Evergreen, Colorado, which we love. It's a beautiful place, with her son, Hank, sweet puppers, Daisy Cakes, and Beth, and an amazing tribe of family and friends. Kelly Browne is a Director of Sales and Key Accounts, Western U.S. for Riverside Luxury Cruises. Before joining Riverside in January 2023, Kelly held a few different positions in the travel industry over the last 9 years. She's worked in the professional development department in Virtuoso. She's been a travel advisor in Seattle, focusing on independent trips to Europe and luxury travel, and even did a short stint as a tour guide in northern France. She's lived in Germany, France, Seattle, and considers herself trilingual. She's an avid learner and lover of life. When Kelly isn't traveling and connecting with travel advisors, she spends her time in Fort Collins, Colorado, with her new husband, Ben. Congratulations. 2 fur babies, and having fun with family and friends. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here. Got the little Colorado constituents here. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, you do.
Beautiful part of the country.
Yes. It's beautiful today, too. We're going to have really nice weather this week. But we've already had 2 snows already.
No way.
Mm-hmm. One was
Bring
a
it our way.
foot. So,
Wow. Well, we're in Phoenix, Arizona, so now you're just rubbing it in.
It hasn't rained for 8 months.
Oh, man.
But thank you guys so much for joining us. A little backstory of why this is on our radar is I was in Budapest for the River Cruise Expo in March of 23 and fell in love with the ship that was there for Riverside. It was the Mozart. She's twice as wide as most of the other cruise lines. And she's just beautifully appointed. The food was wonderful. The service was wonderful. And I just I had to come home and rave about it. So we have since booked it ourselves. We're going on the May 19th, 2024. Thanks with Kelly's help too. We were promoting it and getting some other people on board. And we just love this cruise line.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. So we're excited about diving in a little bit deeper about Riverside in general, and then this itinerary and what we can expect.
So tell us more about the Riverside and how did it start? Like, where did this all begin?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I mean, we've done so many shows and people come and go. And now I've gotten to the point where I kind of start, I bet that you don't know anything about us. No. I'm like, it's okay. You're not behind the curve. Because it's all happened very fast. So the parent company is a family-run business out of Europe, out of Hamburg, Seaside Collection Resort. They've been owning and operating luxury hotel properties in Europe, and they have one in the Maldives, the Honolulu, fabulous property. Yeah. So since the 70s. So they know hospitality, they know luxury, they didn't know river cruise. The owner started to think about getting into river cruise actually back in 2018. He just saw a great alignment between, that luxury traveler that loves to stay in a good resort or a hotel and what you could deliver on the river. but saw that there was a gap in the market. So he went out and was actually starting to look at some ships and really thought about building, but it was 2018. I mean, it was busy times, right? So nothing was really readily available. And that's when he paused on River Cruise and went and bought the private island, the Honolulu, and redid that hotel. And I mean, it's just a really amazing property. So you might want to take a look. But then during COVID, saw the headline about Crystal going out of business. He immediately jumped on it and, looked at the Mozart, looked at the sister ships, got the Mozart in May of 22, really started up Riverside at that time, that summer. I came on board in September. I was hire number 1 in North America. We didn't even get the other 4 ships until the end of January. So not even a year. We haven't even had the other ships a year yet. So obviously, it's a very entrenched category with a lot of, adored brands and people who love River Cruise. But the idea with Riverside is really to come on and attract that luxury traveler that has yet to give river cruising a try, right? Like they just really have a certain level of service and culinary and everything that they expect. And we are really aiming to come in and really occupy that spot to grow the category. Because I like to say at the end of the day, I mean, river cruising space is great. Everyone does an amazing job. The whole category is up market, but we really want to come in and fill that luxury spot.
That's interesting. You mentioned it that way for that traveler who's not tried a river cruise yet. We talked to a lot of our friends and they really enjoy going to Europe. They really enjoy cruising. But then when you talk to them about river cruising, they really haven't dived in yet. Of course, lots of people have given it a try and we're converts to it, of course. But there's a lot of people who just haven't really dived in because some of them are a little cruise phobic. They say, well, I don't really love cruising. It's like, this is not that.
It's not, and again, there's ocean cruising does a great job. Touring does a great job. There's no other travel style like it. It really does blend the amenities and ease of a cruise with the luxury and, service of a hotel stay, but getting to go to a different port every day, sometimes multiple times in the day. And you just can't get that anywhere else. And just the intimacy of the ships too. I mean, our sister ships only hold 110. The Mozart, even given its extra width, only 162. And you just won't get that level of like really personalized service, even in a high-end luxury hotel, because people are coming and going. And, there's just something really special about, doing a 7-night sailing. You fall in love with the crew immediately. You start to meet new friends and you just can't find it anywhere else.
That's a really good point. And I think you're going to get a lot of, obviously, the former Crystal sailors, people who have been on Crystal before and know the brand. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you brought back a lot of the Crystal staff from Crystal.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. I think at one point, 80% of the crew on the Mozart was former Crystal. When we did start sailing the Rebelle, we kind of cross-pollinated, if you will, sent some people from the Mozart down there. Obviously, shoring up for next year, we will definitely continue to try and find former Crystal staff. Now, it'll be less so in France because, you may not remember, but Crystal never sailed the Rhone. They never put a ship in the south of France. So that's kind of a new market for this ship in that part of the world, which is good because you're always looking for something new. But yeah, definitely having that continuity, but even taking it one step higher. I mean, Crystal did an amazing job, but we want to take it even a notch higher.
I can see how you will do that for sure. And so how is Riverside going to separate themselves from the other luxury river cruise lines?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. First and foremost, space and design, right? I mean, everyone who has come on these ships says they really are the most beautiful ships on the river. I mean, Crystal built them back in 1617 with the luxury traveler in mind. More crew, less people on board, larger galleys, so we could have more chefs, just beautifully designed spaces. The largest average suite size, king size beds in every suite. No other line can say that. But I believe the real factor is culinary. Again, everything's up market. Everyone does a good job with food. Crystal did a great job with food. We're going to be exceptional. The parent company owns hotels and restaurants. We budget more per guest. We have more chefs. We cook everything on demand. We offer 24-hour room service, variety of dining venues, but you really feel like when you go into the Waterside Grill, you really feel like you're dining at a 5-star restaurant. It is not just about kind of cranking the food out, right? It is about the presentation, about the quality, the local ingredients. So I think that we're really going to stand out on the culinary aspect. And then, of course, service. I mean, when it comes to the luxury traveler, Got to have service. We have a butler in every suite. No other line can say that. Every single suite, regardless of category, that's to provide that personalized service. And, it's one of the things I have this conversation with advisors all the time. The word butler, it's kind of a little bit of like an old term, and people are kind of like, body is a butler. We just think of it as a personal concierge. I talked to an advisor who let the butler unpack his suitcase. And let me tell you, it was all organized in his closet. Everything was nice. But it really is how much you use that butler to help personalize your service.
And to touch on the stateroom size, we were floored on the size of the cabins on Mozart. And I know she's twice as wide, but even looking at the deck plans for the other ships like the Ravel that we're going to be on, one of my clients is coming with us and he's got a fireplace in his room. I mean,
okay. So he is, he's in the Ravel suite.
He's in the Ravel suite, and he wanted the bigger cabin. And a lot of the other cabins on other cruise lines are so small. Even like the largest are 300, 350 square feet for the higher end luxury lines. And you're coming in, you can do the owner suite and 736 or something like that.
Yeah. And on the Mozart, it's 883. Yes. Yeah. So, and again, it's only a couple that size, but when you look at the kind of standard suite size, say on the sister ships, right? It's always different because the Mozart is an older ship. There's just so much more space throughout the whole ship. Yet the sister ships are newer ships, and we have no suites below the water level on the sister ships. Right? They start at 190, but they're already so well appointed. Once you get up into that, so the majority of the suites on the sister ships are 235 to 255. It is a perfect size because you don't have an external balcony. You've got all that use of space the entire time. And in those suites, the bed faces the view, which I'm kind of comfortable with that message, as you know. Then you get into the bathroom and you have a double vanity and a walk-in shower. Now, even on the entry-level suites, again, not below the water level, they're 190 square feet. The bed doesn't face the view because the suite's a little smaller and it's a single vanity, but still same size, large shower. On the Seahorse and Riverside suites on the sister ships, you have a walk-in closet. I don't have a walk-in closet in my house.
That was the other one.
Yeah, it was amazing. And they're big panoramic windows, fill the whole wall. It goes down halfway with a push of a button so you can let that fresh air in. And really, they are just beautiful, beautiful suites.
Definitely. Can't wait to see it all.
When Kim was first showing me some of the pictures, she showed me a picture and there was this fireplace peeking behind on one of the backgrounds of the shot. I was like, is that really a fireplace? Because
not real fire, safety first.
Yeah, exactly.
Not real fire, but
not real fire. It's electrical one. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could still provide heat and light and ambiance.
Yeah.
But that's really
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
Just the green furnishings and it's so current. It's so
yes.
Yeah, it's so current. So do any of the cabins hold triple, like 3 people, or are there any that are specific for solo travelers?
Yes, great question. So the true triples, it's really only on the Mozart. We have 12 penthouse suites. They're 333 square feet, king size bed, and then it has a couch that folds down. I say that's great for families traveling with a kid, maybe 3 women traveling together, want to room together, but have that extra space. But we have connecting rooms. So that's also not very common on all river cruise ships. So that's great for multi-gen or couples traveling together or multiple, women traveling together that want to be able to go in between. So that's really nice. When it comes to solo travelers, we have an amazing offering. We actually waive the single supplement on our entry-level suites across the fleet. So in the Mozart, that would be on all the Harmony suites. We can waive the single supplement. Depending on seasonality and this and that, there'll probably be some caps, but you can trust that on every sailing, there is, depending on when you book, the opportunity to not pay a single supplement. And then on the sister ships, it's the Melody suites.
The Melody suites are beautiful. They're French balconies. So
yeah,
you're not underwater there on the.
Nope, you are not.
And I love the price options for Riverside. So you have 4 different pricing options. Can you explain how those are different from each other?
Yes. So, obviously the all-inclusive premium with excursions is really the all-inclusive price that you don't want to think of in comparison to other luxury lines. So in that price, you have your premium beverage package, which includes a choice. It's not like one white wine, we serve Tattinger, champagne within our included premium beverage package. Okay. So you get a choice. Then you get a choice of excursion in every port. It also includes your gratuities and port charges and your transfers. All of that included. All the dining options. The only thing that would be additional is the vintage room. And we can maybe talk about that later. Yet, you run into this. At times, you will hear from a client. Well, I don't drink. I don't really like to pay for a package when, I don't drink. Or, you know what? We love the ship. We love river cruising. We love the food. But when we get into port, we just want to do our own thing. So you can go ahead and price it out either all-inclusive or all-inclusive minus the beverage package, or all-inclusive minus the excursion package. Or for those that really just want to use it as a floating hotel, we could do what we call full board. That's at entry-level price. You still get all your meals and all the ship amenities, but you won't have a beverage package and you won't have any included excursions. Yet, if they decided, if they have a drink, we'll just charge them. If they decided, they get on board and they get excited about, someone talking about doing an excursion, they could buy it a la carte and pay for it on board. Easy.
Love that. Love it. And Kelly knows one of the couples that are coming with us is a big champagne fan.
Yes.
So we had to find out what kind of champagnes were being served on board.
I think the champagne list tipped her over on that one.
Spectacular. I mean, you're in France. I mean, and the wine and everything will be amazing. Yeah. Now we can shift specifically to the itinerary that we're taking in May of 24, which was the Bolero South originally. So if you see that, that's what it was called originally. But now it's the Romantic Rhone. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's Lyon to Avignon. It's 7 nights, south of France. And it's going to be on the Revel. I'm excited to see this ship. I can't wait. And so can you point out some things about this itinerary?
Yeah, absolutely. So now it's called Romantic Rhone. And this particular itinerary begins in Lyon, France, and ends in Avignon. So you're still going to see a little combination between larger cities, really bustling areas. Lyon, especially, I really enjoyed my cruise there. I wish that I had even more time to explore. But also the smaller towns and little medieval villages. It's an itinerary just packed with all kinds of different experiences. So, you're in Lyon, you might get a couple different experiences there with city tours. But throughout the rest of the experience, I mean, Arles was one of my favorite places. There's an old Roman amphitheater there that is absolutely fantastic and the most picturesque, beautiful little provincial town that I'd ever seen. I mean, every doorway that you saw, every corridor you walked down, so much beauty and history just budding from it. Also, that's where there's a lot of artistic roots that you find in its region of Provence in general as well, especially in Arles. And Van Gogh resided there for a while. And so you see different points in the city where you see, oh, this is the spot in which he painted this painting, or was it inspiration for this? And I could go on and on about Arles, but there's so many other really amazing tours and really unique experiences. We did a nighttime walking tour in Viviers with, it was just a cool way to see this beautiful, again, medieval town. It's just like a dream you're walking through. I felt like I was walking through movie sets through so many of these little towns, and some are very sleepy, but others, like I mentioned, the bigger ones are bustling. And then you got some more of the natural wonders too, depending on what kind of activity you're doing, or more off the beaten path type of, not exactly in the town, visiting cathedrals and whatnot, but other amazing experiences. This one totally tops the charts. The truffle farm visit that we did, where you're meeting with this owner of a truffle farm who's been in the business, forever. You get to meet the dogs and see them do their thing, hunting up the truffles. And of course, you're tasting them afterwards, and with the opportunity to purchase some. That was a really cool experience. Absolutely delicious. A lot of the things that you can expect to find on this type of itinerary, and just being in France naturally is a lot of culinary treats and delicacies. There are certain excursions around the area for wine tastings in certain wineries, but also a few pop-up surprises with cheese tasting and other wine tasting. For those wine lovers, Chateauneuf du Pape.
That
is top of the top. You visit this little town. There are thousands, I believe, hundreds. I can't remember. Many, many, many different wineries to visit. It's a really cool experience. And one of the biggest highlights of this itinerary will be a signature event, either at Chateau Neuf de Pape Winery or at the Panery Winery in France for an evening with amazing food and wine and a really special experience with live music under the stars. And that's something really unique that we're doing that will be sure to be a hit and a really memorable experience. And, we've also got a lot of different types of active tours that guests can participate in on this. So you get
I got to do some of that. Yep.
Yes. I did too.
Yes.
So Jen, when she was on her cruise, got to kayak under the Pont du Gard.
Did you really?
Did not
It
get
was a
that
5-mile kayak.
Oh,
It was amazing. I love it. Like I said, I've been selling river cruises for 20 years. It was my most favorite day of excursion experience ever. We did it. It was a beautiful day. It was hot. So we were so happy to be on the water. 5 miles. Then we get out. And while Kelly mentioned that the Panery Winery will be an evening excursion, on this particular one, we got to get picked up and taken there. And we were there for a private lunch. Amazing wine, amazing food. There's art galleries throughout. It's this beautiful setting. I mean, I was like, okay, now this is living. So
yes.
I saw
And
that.
I experienced that by bike. So we had to have a slight change in plans due to the weather, but we still made it really fun. Our group that ended up going on this, we rode bikes there, and moving forward, we are going to offer not only kayaking and biking tours, but also more of a walking sightseeing tour so that everybody can experience it, because it's an absolutely incredible sight to see.
Are your bikes
lots of
e-bikes? Are you?
we have e-bikes and regular bikes.
Okay, that's right.
We have a mix of both. And we have, bikes on every ship, on every itinerary. So, sometimes they get used for the excursion, but often they're just there for clients to take off and explore on their own. Because that's one of the things that I really like to stress about river cruising. I think, and I've been at it so long, and I still see in conversations with clients, that they think river cruising is really rigid, right? It's just it couldn't be more flexible. It really is come on and do what you want. So if you don't want to do the accredited excursions, you just want to go tool around on your own, go do it, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's what
And
I love
there was
about it too. Sorry. Is that it's so accessible. You can, because you cruise into a town generally, and I don't know this Rhone itinerary very well, but generally our experience has been you cruise into a town, and then you can wander around as you wish. It's just so accessible. It's not like you have to take prescribed transportation to get to a place in most cases, and that's really
In most cases, yep, absolutely.
And it looks like the itinerary we overnight in some of these towns. So it looks like Lyon, we're there 2 nights maybe this time. And like you said it so much better. Vivier. Oh, look at that.
your French is going to be
Oh
so
my
much
goodness.
better after this.
It's been a while. It's been so long since I've been to France. And Arles and Avignon, we're going to be overnighting. So that'll be great so that you can experience the nightlife if you want to. Just get off the ship.
Yeah. And again, back to the flexibility. I mean, whether it's some people come on and say, oh, I have family friends or this or that, I'd love to go experience it. Some people just want to get off ship, and encourage them to and go have a meal in town, right? Of course, everything's included, and the food on the ship is amazing, but you're also there for the destination. So get out and explore as you want and take advantage as you want. I know, just in general in river cruising, I had a cruise. I took 18 of my friends for my 50th birthday up on the Seine. And we overnighted in Browne, which is how you learn to pronounce it when you, and we went out to like a club. I mean, it was, and it's just great. And you come back, and because you have 24-hour room service with Riverside, when you come back, you won't be hungry. It goes back to the culinary, that it's not just about the quality and the presentation, but it's about, that people just want to eat when they want to eat, right?
Mhm.
And so in addition to the 24-hour room service and the variety of dining venues, we also have a little buffet. It's obviously smaller on the sister ships. It's larger on the Mozart, and really fabulous. But in the morning, it gets set out with pastries, fruit, things like that. And then we do a turnover in the afternoon, turns more into like charcuterie, cheeses. There's homemade soft pretzels there. That is out there all day long. So you don't have to, if you're in between dining or you don't feel like ordering room service and you just want a little nosh, you just cruise by that little buffet. Maybe have the barista make you a coffee, which is amazing. We even have a popcorn machine. We make fresh popcorn on the sister ships.
And you can't forget the ice cream case.
Oh, yeah, the ice cream.
We're going to need to bike all of this off.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is why we have bikes. This is why we have active excursions.
And they're in
In
the
the
gym.
fitness room.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
The what room?
And a pool.
Gym.
There's a pool on every ship with a current machine for those swimmers who want to
Ah,
swim their calories off.
Yeah, you can do laps basically in the pool.
Yeah.
Indoor pool
Mhm.
there
too.
you go.
Yeah. Indoor.
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So those are great for Christmas markets too. Think of that.
Yeah.
You can still go swimming. So like a typical day for those that have not been on a river cruise before,
Yeah.
you get up,
Yeah. You get up.
go to breakfast because you need to eat.
Yep. Yeah.
Or get to room service.
Yeah. You could order room service you want, stay in your room if you're just enjoying, right? But or come to the waterside grill and that we have a nice full buffet. Something that's unique about our ships versus the other lines is the actual buffet where you go and get your food is in kind of a separate room, right? So it's a little bit separate and then you come and sit down in the more dining area. I mean, omelet stations and yogurt and fruit and breads. We make all our bread on board, homemade bread made every day. So that's amazing. Now, if you're more, maybe on that particular day, you're not doing an included excursion because usually the excursions are going to start anywhere between 8:30 and 9:30. So you come, you have your breakfast, and then you're probably going to go and have a wonderful experience. But if you're not signed up for something that day, or it's a day where, there's a little more leisurely time, you could forego the full breakfast and still get to the bistro and get pastries and coffee and kind of a late breakfast. So you'll go out on excursions. We do smaller groups, usually 15 to 20 in our groups. There's a choice, obviously by port, it determines you may have 2 or 3 choices. Some people want the more traditional walking tour. They've never been to that town. They want to see the included sites. They want something more hands-on experiential, maybe a cooking class, a wine tasting, a painting, and then of course active, like Kelly talked about. It might be a hike, it might be a bike, it might be a kayak, and we're really trying to give that variety of experiences. Then come back on board for lunch. In between, unless you maybe did a full day excursion, we have a handful of full day excursions, but usually it's divided between, you usually see a port in the morning and a different port in the afternoon. So you come back on for lunch. We again do a buffet lunch in the waterside grill. Yet, if you are truly lucky, the weather permitting, we have 2 green eggs grills that we've put up on the roof, the vista deck of every ship, and we will do an amazing grilled lunch out there. I mean, and I'm telling you, talk about magical. There is nothing like, maybe sometimes you're sailing, maybe other times you're just docked in a beautiful town. To sit up on that sky deck and have a barbecue lunch. It is just like, where else do you get that? You cannot get that anywhere else, right? River cruising can deliver that. It's amazing. Then usually there's afternoon excursions. Some people may take them, not. Some people may want to stay back. Maybe they want to get a spa service because we have a spa service room, 1 on the sister ships, 2 on the Mozart. And we really are trying to look at the cadence of the day, making sure that you have plenty of time for exploration, but also build in time for you to really enjoy the ship because they're so beautiful. So we'll do afternoon, opportunities or just take a bike off board as we talked about. Now on the Mozart, there's also one other additional dining venue because again, the larger size affords, it's called Blue. It's the aft of the ship. And I love it. It's more casual eatery, but still beautifully designed. You can get a homemade milkshake there and you can get a wrap or a burger or, you have soup and sandwiches. So it's kind of great for multi-gen too. It's just a little bit more casual eatery. You don't want to feel like doing the full buffet. And then you roll into the evening and you'll have a beautiful dinner at the Waterside Grill. Then it turns it's not a buffet at dinner. Obviously, it's a sit down 5-course plated meal. It's really the place to take your time. Think of it as stepping into a luxury restaurant, a 5-star restaurant where everything's cooked on demand. We have more chefs, it's larger galleys, and it's an experience. So it's not about rushing in there and rushing through your dinner. It's about taking your time. Yet, if you are not up for the full 5-course meal, we turn the bistro. I remember I talked about being a kind of a late breakfast. We turn that into a tapas restaurant where you could go. It's a little more casual. You get, a series of 4 or 5 dishes that come out in kind of more small plates. Or you could do room service if you want. Or you, like I said, get off ship. Then we'll have some entertainment in the lounge. We'll have our bartenders there. The bar experience really feels like a bar. You have chairs that have backs on them. You can really sit around. The bartenders are amazing. They make beautiful craft cocktails. They have a botanist cocktail menu. That includes different herbs and stuff. We have an herb garden on the top of the Mozart, and the herbs that we grow there go into some of the dishes in the botanist cocktails.
Yeah, we're really into cocktails lately.
So I'm ready to challenge your bartender and see what.
Okay, all right. They love a challenge. Get on and make us better, Gary.
Sidecar and old fashions and
all about it.
And then you have
muddling. You're not making a cocktail if you're not doing some muddling, right, Gary?
There you go.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And then you have another option for dinner is the vintage room, which I'm really excited about. So tell us more.
Yes, Kelly, tell us about the vintage room because Kelly has experienced it and she loved it.
Love it.
Yes, I've been so incredibly fortunate to experience the vintage room on the Mozart and on the Ravel. And they do vary a little bit in terms of size. Mozart holds up to 12 guests and the other ships, the sister ships, hold up to 10. But the vintage room is an incredible culinary experience that's perfect for celebrating special occasions, perfect for foodies and wine lovers and those that really want to experience fine dining and Michelin star quality meal and experience. So this is a 7-course meal with wine pairing. And you've got the sommelier who's speaking with you about all of the stories and history behind the champagnes and the wines you're drinking. And the executive chef is meeting with all the guests who'd like to participate in this ahead of time as well, making sure that every dietary requirement or preference is being met. And, one night I did see 3 different menus catering to different needs. So you even get a personalized menu and is showing all the details of what you're eating, and the printed descriptions of all the wines. So it's that in itself is a really nice little souvenir to take home and reflect back on what you enjoyed. So this is an experience that is an additional cost. It's a €295 per person cost. And honestly, the wine that you'll have alone on it rivals those wine cellars on land. And everyone who I've spoken with who's experienced this has just been floored by it. The presentation's incredible. The food is incredible. The wines, it's really a true experience. So depending on how chatty your group is, this could take 3+ hours.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience. But you come out changed. It might be all the wine, but you definitely come out changed.
You come out changed.
It's such a special experience.
And so
and
how
just
would we sign
remember,
up?
don't be intimidated. Start from the outside in with your silverware.
Can we learn that on Pretty Woman?
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Good tip. And what's cool about it, you at the time of booking, you say you want to experience the vintage room, right? We don't set the date because at the time of booking, we don't know how many people are going to do it. You could go ahead and just say you've got this one couple that you want to experience the vintage room. Great, put on their booking, or you could do a buyout. So if you do have a group on there of 12 people on the Mozart or 10, the advisor could go ahead and do a buyout and say, we want to have it all just our group for one night. And they will figure that out on board, how to accommodate everyone who wants to do the vintage room.
Okay. Well, I think all 6 of us want to do the vintage room so far.
Yes.
We might be accidentally taking the whole room.
So I am sold on the ship. I'm sold on the itinerary, and we can go back to any of those. But I'm also curious about, because both of you really know this region very well. What did you love kind of at the beginning or the end for a cruise like this? Are there times that you would like to, or cities that you'd like to spend a little time in that are adjacent, either at the beginning or the end of this itinerary?
Well, I think one thing what a lot of people do is do Paris before or after, depending on, it's because then you can go to Paris, then take a high-speed train and down and catch the ship in Lyon. So let's say you go Lyon to Avignon, right? Paris is Paris, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of spotlight in Paris coming up, right? They're going to host the 24 Olympics. So, and for some people, just going into Paris from an air standpoint versus flying into Lyon, obviously it can be more economical, but like I say, Paris is always a good idea. So definitely encourage those who have not been to France, like Kim, in a long time, maybe add on Paris. And then afterwards, at the end, most people fly in and out of Marseille, depending on if you're beginning in Avignon. And, just spending time just down on the bed, right? Like it's just, it's just beautiful. So I think there is a lot of options to do pre or post.
What did you guys do for when you did the sailing? Where'd you guys stay? What area?
I didn't actually do a pre-post. I kind of flew in and did it. I just think the whole like
So
blending
much.
land with river cruise, right? And you've got savvy advisors who know whether it's DMCs or certain hotel properties or this or that. What's nice about us is, in our price, even though we don't have an air program right now, but that's okay. I don't know if I want to get into air right now. It's hard enough starting up a new river cruise line.
Me neither.
But advisors know how to get their clients there, and we include transfers, right? So no matter how you choose to get there, included in your price is a transfer. And it's a blend of either group transfers or private, depending on your suite category. So on the sister ships, if you do Riverside or above, so Riverside or Ravel or Debussy suite or owners, you get a private transfer included. On the other suites, it's group. And then on the Mozart, it is penthouse and above, gets you that private transfer. So that's nice.
That's great. And we heard from someone that Lyon is the gastronomical capital of France. So that's kind of where we're leaning towards, is coming into Lyon for a few days. And then afterwards, we're kind of not sure if we're going to do Marseille, maybe Nice, something like that. But I like that you have so many options. You can stay in Avignon, you can go on and stay elsewhere as well. It's a good jumping off spot.
Yeah. And from Lyon, it's only a couple, maybe 2.5 hours with the high-speed train to Paris. On my cruise, I started in Avignon and ended in Lyon, and then took the train to Paris there for a few days, and just really nice supplement to that cruise. But on a separate trip, I have been to Marseille when I did a tour of Provence a few years ago. And I think that is a really, really amazing city to visit. And there's so many other places around there. I mean, you're also not too far from Saint-Tropez, so you can really use Marseille also on either end as a point to stay and really experience that French coastline, the French mid, and soak in all those sites, because it is quite a vibe there, and lots to see and do, lots of really unique, dishes to try, sights to see. So I'm a big fan of Marseille.
Oh, good. Good to hear that.
Yeah.
So if we are staying in Lyon or staying in Marseille afterwards, are the transfers from those hotels, or is it just day of the cruise?
Just day of the cruise. But
Okay.
if you're,
Coming in that day from Paris.
just that day. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I think you've highlighted a couple things already, but anything else that you would highlight for this particular itinerary or this area versus some of the other river cruises that would go like a Rhine experience or a Danube experience?
Yeah,
Right?
let's
'Cause
talk
those are
about that.
great. But
Yeah, Rhine, Danube, south of France, very different. So, having done river cruise, I always get this question everyone asks, right? Like, I've never done a river cruise. Where should I go first? Normally, I definitely say Rhine or Danube first, for the reasons of, like, when people conjure up in their mind river cruising, they kind of picture these, castles on the hills. And, of course, you get that with the Rhine Gorge or the Wachau Valley where you're sailing, and there's the vineyards, and it really gives you that, kind of traditional river cruise experience. South of France it's still beautiful, but you go through some stretches that are not like, totally beautiful. South of France is really about the food and wine, right? And still the towns. But I think that most people would do Rhine or Danube first and then maybe go south of France. But it all depends. I mean, if you have someone who's a real foodie and is really about wine, of course, there's great wines and food up there. But I think the south of France really delivers on the food and wine aspect. But all three of them are great for that mix of, like Kelly talked about, bigger cities, quainter towns, that charm, all of it. There's shopping, great shopping, obviously. And, in France, everything is just fabulous. So.
well, it sounds like there's so many like additional cultural insertion points. So you've got the food and the wine and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of really gives you a different, pardon the pun, the flavor of where you are versus another, what we've been on tours where they call it an ABC, another big church. After a while,
another bloody cathedral. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that this is a good mixture. And of course, again, you can always make it your own. If you're, tired of seeing medieval towns or churches, you can really pick and choose what you want to do, or, peel off on your own, tired of being in that church, go off and explore elsewhere. And you're given the itinerary every night for the next day, so you know exactly when you need to be back on the ship and what to expect. And I really wanted to add something else to this, that this is something that's new for 24 to these itineraries, and something really unique. Not many others are doing this, but we're adding a sailing to the Rhone Delta. And this is in the Camargue region. So that's a World Heritage wetland area, the largest river delta in Western Europe. This is a haven for wildlife, a fascinating history, and is just really beautiful as well. So our operations team has really tried to optimize the sailing time so that guests can enjoy the views on that particular part of the river and the vista deck as well.
That's on this.
Yeah, because
this itinerary, the romantic.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, I mean, this is a good, just good knowledge for everyone listening. The Rhone has a series of low bridges, right? We all deal with it. So when it comes to using the sky deck, we've actually adjusted our itineraries. We learned a lot in sailing this year. Even just a couple months, we sailed the Ravel in order to optimize the time, because people love it when the sky deck's open. But you've got to put the sky deck down to get under these bridges. I mean, we just watched a video this morning on our sales call, and I'm talking 10 centimeters in between the bridge and the top of the sky deck when it's down, the vista deck. So we would love to have it open more often, but it's just not possible sometimes. So we have adjusted our itineraries to ensure that we do kind of on the days where we can't open the sky deck, we're going to really make sure there's a ton of excursion options. Those are going to be your busier days. And then on the days where you can have the sky deck open, we're going to slow it down, allow you time to be up there and enjoy. But what's great about going to the Rhone Delta is when we're down there, you absolutely can have the sky deck open. Maybe we do a continental breakfast up there. Maybe we do a lunch. Maybe we do a dinner, but it's really about maximizing the time outside.
You know what makes me think of something that we haven't mentioned yet is the pop-up bar.
Oh, God.
There it is.
We're not doing video.
That's right behind you. If you could see this, she has it behind her.
We were able on my cruise to see them lower that pop-up bar. So all of our ships have one of these, and they're retractable bars. They actually go flush with the floor. It's an amazing feat, honestly, and such a unique attribute of our ships, because then there is a pop-up bar on all of the ships. You can sit up there at anytime it's open and enjoy a drink. You know, someone's always going to make sure that you've got something in hand, that you're comfortable up there, but it's a really cool feature of these ships as well.
Yeah, because when you look at the other sky decks of the other lines, everyone has loungers. But there's something different about having a bar, but also the area adjacent to the bar has couches and tables. It's not just loungers. So we pipe music up there. That's one thing that we really tried to do different than Crystal. Crystal didn't really make much use of the sky deck. They didn't have bikes on board. They didn't, we really want to create it's an alternate space where you can create a different vibe, and you can do things in the evening. You can do things in the day. We really want to encourage people to be up there and, meeting each other and enjoying the ship. We really want to use all the square footage, as you know, is limited on river cruises.
Well, and that's a really good point, because we've been on cruises where they have, wonderful places to sit, but then you have to go get a drink and then bring it up, or I forget exactly how that worked, but having that bar headquarters right there, that's going to be great.
Stock up on that champagne.
Yep.
Floating.
And you were talking about the bridges. So the water level, as we all know, can be high or low depending on the season.
And we want it to be Goldilocks.
We do. Right? I wish we could forecast how it's going to be for everybody's cruise, but we never know. So obviously it can change at a moment's notice. You can get a few inches of rain and it totally changes things.
Yep. 1 inch of rain can make a difference. One inch of rain can make a difference in whether a ship sails.
Yep, absolutely. So with the South of France itinerary, the Rhone, do you think that this river will be more affected because the margin is so much smaller, or is this that much?
Yeah, but usually if you're going to get, it's usually high water that you run into, obviously, on the Rhone, right? So you definitely get that earlier in the spring. The good thing is there's always alternate plans, right? If you get, a lot of times if we can know enough ahead of time, we can, to adjust the sailing, give the clients and advisors a heads up. This is how we're going to adjust it. If we reached a point where we really felt we couldn't sail at all, we would obviously try and make that decision before people left the stays. But all the lines deal with that. It's one of the number one questions we get asked, when do I sail not to be affected by high water? I'm like, well, when do you come to Colorado and not want to get snow? I can't promise you anything. I've seen it snow in the middle of May here. So it's hard to predict, but all the lines do a good job with contingency plans. And, we have access to coaches. Sometimes when that happens, we might go and create an experience for them that they wouldn't have had if we hadn't hit that, So if you can it's just managing expectations, right? But pack your patience, open your mind and your heart to what shall be, right? And sometimes you'll be surprised and get an experience you never could have had. So, like I said, it's a human experience sold by humans. There's going to be some fallibility there.
Well, and that's the whole part of the travel is just being open to what's going to happen. And just don't expect it's going to be exactly, as you imagined or as it's laid out. I mean, that's kind of the joy of it, right?
It's the joy of it. And I think a lot of times too, people don't realize it was better or they were so excited to experience what they experienced till they get back, right? And then they think, oh my God, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have done this. And that was like one of my favorite memories. But sometimes it just takes time for people to kind of process and digest the trip and, see what comes, what they remember most. And a lot of times, think about your own travel stories, right? Like you don't really go, oh my God, this is the perfect trip. Like, remember that one time and it was like pouring rain and we ducked in that place and we had that meal. Think about it. You share the bad stories more than you share the good stories.
100%. And even the times where you got lost, you found something, or figured something out. It's like, it's the way it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. One question I did have for the excursions and even the vintage room and everything. Everyone could pre-book their excursions ahead of time. Should they pre-book their excursions?
No, we're trying to get away from that. Okay. Yeah, we're trying to get away from that. One, it adds this extra level of stress to the booking process. I feel like obviously we're going to have all our excursions loaded online so people can kind of start to pick and choose. But I will tell you, something from a line that encouraged more pre-booking, people book and they get on and they just change it anyway. Yeah. They've met someone, the weather's different. Now they got more of a description or now they're in the destination. So we actually are not going forward going to encourage pre-booking. Now there'll be a few isolated excursions where we need to get tickets to the Parliament building, say in Budapest. Oh. We'll be very clear on whether something should be pre-booked. Otherwise, get on ship, make your decision. When it comes to the spa services or vintage room, like I said, you will raise your hand, but it'll still be handled on ship. Spa services handled on ship. Obviously, it's all first come, first serve in terms of availability. All of that will be done on ship. Now, anything that you do purchase that you pay for on ship, that'll be paid in euro. And then obviously everything that's included in the price, like when you do all-inclusive price, that'll be in US dollars.
Perfect. And then I did notice there was one excursion that cost extra, even though they had the all-inclusive, just because it was a more unique private.
Yeah, we have a handful of optionals, like, anyone, we want to pepper in some unique excursions that maybe they would be cost prohibitive to just include for everyone, but they're really cool experiences like a hot air balloon ride, right? And that's clearly noted, but you get a choice of excursions in every single port. So
I love that. So we shouldn't really worry about the excursions. We'll figure that out when we get on board.
No,
and it doesn't
we
max
want to really,
out
because what we'll do, we'll find out that, we can add, and of course, if there was a communication on ship, like this is starting to become more popular, but most of the time we can just shift like, oh, we offered these 3 excursions, but really everyone's just taking these 2. Okay. We'll operate those 2.
And if only 2 people sign up for one excursion, you're still going to have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the last question we have is, what's the future for Riverside? What's the forecast? I know you have the 5 ships.
So we'll be sailing 3 ships next year. The Rebelle on the Browne. The Debussy will do tulip time, the Rhine, Mosel, Upper Danube into the Lower Danube, overlapping a bit with the Mozart, which of course can only stay on the Lower Danube, pass out through the Iron Gates. So we'll be on all the major rivers, but only 3 ships. Our goal in the next year is to really refine the product. We've gotten like rave reviews about the service and the food, but we still have, things that we learned a lot this year that we want to enhance, adjust. So, next year is really our true full first sailing year. This was our just get in the water and see what we learn. So it'd be nice to have 3 ships sailing the full season. And we'll do that for the next 3 years. And then we'll be adding on things like pre-post land packages that we don't have right now. So we'll just go deeper with the brand and the product over the next 3 years. And then after that, we will sail 4 ships and then eventually have all 5 ships in our fleet sailing. But we were about quality over quantity, right? We're not coming in to be the biggest. We definitely want to be the best for the traveler that we make sense for. It definitely does not happen overnight. It's really about getting the nuances down, about getting the service to a place where it's almost like a client gets off and think, the minute I thought it, I had it done for me, right? That takes staffing and cross-training. People who sailed with the Mozart this year, being in trainings with people who are going to be on the Rebelle next year, because even though the destinations are going to be different, we want to establish a baseline, a very high baseline for minimum level of service, personalization, culinary, all of that. And that should be a consistent across our fleet.
Love it. I love that. Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And don't rush into it. I love that.
Yeah. Again, the parent company has a thriving hotel business that they've been at forever. I think certain aspects of the hotel side being able to be brought on, I think there'll be some of that. I mean, things like the spa. So the spa on the ship, we use a product line called Natura Bissé. So here's what happens a lot of times, especially with Americans, they're very brand focused. So they know Molten Browne, which is what Crystal used before, or Bulgari or L'Occitane, right? And those are brand names. Yet at the end of the day, they're a little more fashiony. Natura Bissé is a more sustainable, simpler ingredients. We use it at the Fahey Spa in the Maldives. And our spas are called the Fahey Spa also on the ships. And we use that same product line in the suites, in the spa. It's very high quality. So it's just little subtle differences that just becomes something like, oh, I've never heard of it. Well, you probably haven't heard a lot of things that are amazing, right? And that's why you're getting out to travel. So it's definitely digging in on things like that. And we will do cross training, like people who will come from the Maldives and be doing spa services on the ship. And the person who does your spa service is a spa specialist. They are not folding towels. They are not serving you your meals.
I love that. And since your owner owns other hotels, obviously an expert in hotels. So when you start to incorporate the pre and post hotel packages, I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it will. And, there's, just because the location of the hotels, there's really not, we can't do a lot of crossover of using those particular hotels, but it'll be that level of quality that you know what to expect, right? And it'll be very nice. Our goal would probably keep it simple, but still give choice, probably a choice of 2 hotels in each town that we do a pre-post. And we will probably go along the lines of when you think traditional luxury, when you think of a Four Seasons or, a Ritz, maybe a package that includes that. And then maybe something that is a little bit more, maybe skews a little younger, kind of funky design forward. Because if you look at some of the hotels in the portfolio, I stayed at the Side Design Hotel in Hamburg and I went to another hotel in Gran Canaria because we have 4 properties on Gran Canaria, if those of you are interested in that part of the world. But just bright colors and very modern and very fun because we do want to skew younger.
And I have to say, as a younger cruiser, new river cruiser myself, it is an experience like no other. I mean, there's something just so exciting and special and wonderful and easy about it. I love the fact that you get on board and you unpack your bag once. And we have self-service laundry on board. It's such an amazing feature. So you can still, kind of have your independence, take care of your own stuff. And also if you plan on having part of a river cruise as your greater itinerary to Europe and you're going somewhere else after the cruise or traveling before that. But it's such a nice way to travel. You know where you're kind every night. Your stuff is safe. You know where to get your meals and get assistance if you want help finding something else. But it really takes a lot of that stress of planning out. And you still get to experience so many new things and places at the same time.
It's that unpacking once. It's for me. I just
totally.
The best.
I let your butler unpack and then you
or that. You're not going to starve. You're not going to. You're not going to die of thirst.
Definitely not.
No matter what, you too, and you'll be very active as much as you want to be, or as little as you want to be.
Yeah. Well, you guys are obviously passionate about what you're doing and what you designed and what you're executing for this next level of client and client experience. I was sold before, but now I'm sold. I don't know what you call that. But anyway, thank you for helping us elevate our expectations. We are ready to go.
We're going to be broke because we're going to keep on
Hey, there's better ways to go. There's ways to go broke.
Can't take it with you to heaven, I say.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us and giving us such a great outlook on the cruise line and this specific itinerary that we're going to be going on. And just really excited about talking about it more and selling it more and getting my clients on. And I highly recommend anybody to get on this ship. And the prices are very, very reasonable. I know we keep talking luxury and it's, all of this is included in the food and everything, but it is affordable. I mean, the pricing on our ship for our itinerary, I think was like $3,500 a person, somewhere around there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look forward to welcoming many of you on board and your guests. And again, we will just thank you guys for the early support. We know how hard it is we're one of how many river cruise lines, and there's ocean cruise and all the suppliers that you work with and need to keep focused on. So the fact that you've even given your time today to listen to this podcast, we are really, really grateful.
Thank you again so much. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
See you on the river.
Yeah. So everybody grab your passport and let's go. Thanks for listening to Passport Required. Please be sure and join the Silverleaf Travel Facebook page so that we can connect with you. It is also a great place to share your own travel tips, experiences, and wisdom with the Silverleaf Travel community.
If you got something out of this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and also give us a rating and review. We always want to get better, and we will read all of your comments and suggestions for topics so that we can make this podcast the best resource possible. My name is Gary Covert.
And I'm Kim Covert. Thanks for listening, and thank you for being a part of the Silverleaf Travel community.